I've always told myself every single morning I get up or whenever I'm going through a hard time, I'm a driven, motivated person. What would a driven, motivated person do? What would they consume? I'm sitting as we do this podcast at 1.8 million followers. I rarely sit back, think to myself, oh my God, look at all these followers. It's more so helping people on a daily basis and changing people's lives. And that's my purpose. And the following is a byproduct of that. And it's a tool that allows me to be able to help more people through our coaching.
We often see the bricks, but not the cement.
Yeah.
Right? It's the stuff in between the bricks that people neglect, but that's the shit that holds it together. And importantly, yes, you need both.
If you want to take the island, you must burn the boats. That saying has carried with me the whole time. In August 2014, I set fire to my boats and I never ever had a plan B. We are not here for long. So do what you love, put everything into it, and just understand that in 100 years from now, nobody's going to know your name. So you may as well go all in and just fucking chase your dreams.
Matt,
Alex.
thank you for joining me. I suppose that's the appropriate response.
Yeah.
Mate, thanks for coming down.
Mate, thanks for having me.
Again, you are the first person, here's a twister, to appear twice on this podcast.
It's an absolute honour. And things have changed slightly since the last time we caught up, mate.
They have. You've took the
Both
words.
of us.
You've took the words out of my mouth because that's some of the things I want to really dive into because things have changed for both of us a lot. To start off with, though, paint the picture, just to kind of set the scene. If me and you serendipitously found ourselves sat next to each other on an airplane flight, long haul, we got chatting, how's your mother, how's your father? And I asked you what you did for work, what would you tell me?
I'd start it by saying, look, I'm an online fitness coach, Alex, and we help people from all over the world build the confidence to be able to fuck with the lights on.
Boom.
Boom.
Love it.
And then you'd be like, are you into OnlyFans or?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how much?
No, I'm an online fitness coach. We help people through health and fitness. And then I go from there. But yeah, that's basically what we do. We've got the Fuck with the Lights On challenge and we help people build confidence to be able to fuck with the lights on. And we have a massive amount of clients from all over the world. Yeah, predominantly actually US.
Yeah, it's a big market for you as well. And a lot of people, so they'd recognize you probably from the Fuck or Suck series.
Yes.
Right? But it didn't start that way, did it?
It definitely did not start that way.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about how you stumbled across that, because I think now it's fair to say that most people have seen that parody or tried to rip it off in many ways, which is, I guess, is a compliment to yourself, right? Starting that out. But is it something that was premeditated? And obviously we've spoken about this a little bit, but what was it that kind of came into fruition to get you to that point? Because I know for you, it was actually came from a more organic thought process of like who you actually are and speaking how you wanted to speak. And I want to talk about this because I think this is what is not spoken about a lot, because people think it's really over manufactured, and there is planning and strategy, absolutely. But where did it stem from?
Yeah, so myself and my business partner, Wes, we were brainstorming ideas to be able to find our client avatar. And he was helping me find my specific client avatar. And we were just like shooting the shit on a call. And he's like, what do your clients really, really want? And I just had a big think about it. And I was like, you know what? I've had quite a number of people tell me they just want to feel confident fucking with the lights on. They are no longer comfortable sleeping with their partner and they just want to feel good naked and feel good fucking with the lights on. And then I knew through years of repetition with my content, what can I do? Because I knew I'd tried things in the past where I would do content, but it didn't really necessarily align with my coaching. So I was like, I need my content to really be able to align with my coaching. And if I could come up with something where I could kind of pre-qualify people through my content. So if I came up with a series which was originally fuck or flop, turned into fuck or suck really quickly, if people were okay with the word fuck, they would more than likely be okay with the Fuck with the Lights On challenge. And that's what came up. And that's how I came up with the idea to run the Fuck or Flop, which turned into the Fuck or Suck series.
Yeah, it's something that I think you got to keep refining it. And I think a lot of people overthink it to that point, because it's like that first question I asked you. It's like the job title is relevant, but it's like, yeah, okay, people come to you because of like, hey, this is what I do, but it's like, what is the end result? What is the experience? What is the thing that people actually want? And I think sometimes you got to ask that question multiple times. You know, there's that 5 why kind of analogy. It's like, why do you want this? Why do you want this? Why do you want this? And usually it's not the first question that gets there. It's a couple deep. And I think that's an insignia, especially for people, even like myself, you know, we talked about this morning, still working on, okay, what do I do? But what is it that people come to me for? But that's something that can be hidden in plain sight, but at the same time, it can be buried very deep.
Yes.
And it takes time to get there. And I think part of what you said there, which really resonates with me, is it was something that, yes, you asked the audience and you got the feedback, but it was more organic to what you would say. Because like you said, you tried the fuck or flop, but it's like fuck or suck. But it's like, fuck, I actually would say, you would say, me knowing you anyway, he would say that.
Yeah,
That's something
100%.
that's organic to him.
And it's got to be, you know.
Do you want to shag with the lights on?
Exactly. It's got to come, you know, from an authentic place. And I think the only way by finding an authentic place is through repetition and continuously showing up day after day and just finding what works for you. And for years, I was trying to find that thing. And we've spoken about this off air where it's so simple. It doesn't need to be complicated, but it can be so difficult to find that thing. And like I said, a lot of people don't know that I actually found the fuck with the lights on challenge that we now do, which impacts thousands of people's lives. And that was what actually inspired me to do the fuck or suck series. So people think it's kind of the other way around, but it was actually the fuck with the lights on challenge first.
There you go. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, so I guess reverse engineering that kind of gave you that guide to go, well, if that's hit, then to maybe reach a broader audience or new audiences.
Yeah, well, I think, like, what's the point in having a massive audience if you can't help that audience? Essentially, you're getting a bunch of vegans to a butcher shop, right? So why would I build an audience and then what I am trying to help people through health and fitness is what I do. There's no point having this massive audience of people who can't resonate with what I've got to offer. And I think I see people go wrong so much when it comes to that. It just doesn't align. They've got two things that are just complete opposite. Like, you know, you see a lot of girls who will be posting themselves, their bodies and that sort of thing, and they'll be getting a massive amount of following, which is okay if your product aligns with that. But then they try to sell coaching and then it doesn't align with what they're putting out there.
Because it's a load of men.
Yeah, and exactly. And that's just a bunch of vegans at a butcher shop.
Do you think it's because, as you kind of said in sorts there, a lot of people are chasing the viral content because they're trying to get a monetary outcome in terms of followers, views, likes, rather than actually building an audience with the end in mind first, based on what their skill set or what problems they can solve, rather than, hey, look at me, I've got all this following. But like you said, vegans in a butcher shop. Yeah,
I think a lot of people think the following, they value a following because it's lots of people and numbers and an audience. But at the end of the day, I think I've spoken to quite a lot of millionaires over my time, and as you would have, like, the number is just a part of the process to get there. And once you've got it, you know, you still need to be fulfilled once you're there. If you don't have a purpose, if you don't, you know, have something to wake up for every single morning and be able to be excited to be able to execute through your day, then you've just got a bunch of money in the bank. And that's exactly the same with the following. Like, you know, I'm sitting as we do this podcast at 1.8 million followers. I rarely sit back and, you know, think to myself, oh my God, look at all these followers. It's more so helping people on a daily basis and changing people's lives. And that's my purpose. And the following is a byproduct of that. And it's a tool that allows me to be able to help more people through our coaching.
Do you think there was events or people or anything specifically that helped you stumble across that? Like that mindset, right? Which is fantastic. But how did you arrive there? How did you get to that point where you kind of knew at some point? And did you get to a point where maybe you were going down a path like, you're like, fuck, hang on, I'm chasing the wrong thing here?
Yeah, and I think, you know, I certainly didn't trip and fall into this position. Let's just make that clear. It took many years of failures to get here. And over those years, I took inspiration from many people, and I still do today. I can always learn off anyone. Doesn't matter whether they're doing better or worse than me. I obviously try to focus on the people that are doing better and have got what I want. but I also can learn what not to do off other people as well. And I think that's just a principle that I've always laid down for myself. So I take a lot of inspiration from the people who are where I want to get to, and I make sure to take inspiration but curate it in a way where it's me. And I think that's where a lot of people, come undone. Like, people just think that a series is the secret, where we've spoken about as well. The series isn't actually the secret. It's about being known for that thing, and that thing is different for every single person. So over the years, heaps of people. I don't know if you want me to name names or
If you want to.
Yeah,
absolutely. If it's pertinent right now, let's go there.
James Smith, cheers, mate. Newtonic.
Thank you.
He's definitely one guy that I've not even sponsored. He's definitely one guy that I've taken a lot of inspiration off over the years. Adam Sullivan.
Would you say Chris as well?
Yeah, Chris Williamson. Cheers, Chris.
Just send us a few out, boys. Well.
But then other people outside of the fitness industry as well. Jocko Willink, Seth Feroci. A lot of, motivational, driven individuals. But so many more, Jay Alderton.
Yeah, I enjoyed the podcast you did with Jay. He's a good guy.
And I pick up little pieces, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you consume because they're very successful, but like I said, it always comes back to curating in a way where I can execute this myself and turn it into what I need to. Take the information that they're giving, but then always trying to bring it back into what I can put forward with as me.
Yeah, and it's important. There's never one thing. There's not one person. And it might be multiple people saying the same thing in a different way before it hits. But there's generally people that you not necessarily always just look for or look to, but it's like you found them, whether it's through social media or a referral or a recommendation. And it's that collective amount of information that I think really helps sort of drive, I guess, the trajectory, if you will, or the decision-making process. But I think it's similar to that saying, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with. Think about, like, I'll use the term visual nutrition, right? Because it's important. I think me and you probably have a similar viewpoint on watching the news, and that we wouldn't watch it, that we wouldn't watch normal TV for that reason. Because if you're focused on what you consume, and I don't think people are aware, right, with the phone, when you're exposed to certain things all the time, if you're not limiting that, or if you're not aware or managing it, if you're consuming the wrong things, I mean, that 1 degree out over a series of hours and months, I mean, you can start to get into some pretty strange thought processes, or you might be getting influenced in a way that you don't realize. I mean, we know about subliminal marketing and all of that sort of stuff. So I think what you consume is very important, especially if you want to be in a certain place or time, and being aware of what you're actually consuming and how it's affecting you in the real world.
100%. I've always told myself every single morning I get up, or whenever I'm going through a hard time, I'm a driven, motivated person. What would a driven, motivated person do? What would they consume? And then I force myself to go and do those things.
That's how it becomes a habit.
100%.
Because you don't always feel like it.
Yeah. But would a driven, motivated person...
Tongue twister.
That is a tongue twister. Would a driven, motivated person skip their meal prep? Would they skip a week of the gym? Would they just go to McDonald's instead of the healthy choice? Not that you can't do those things sometimes, but most of the time they're going to put in the effort and do what needs to be done.
Okay, so that just made me think about a conversation I had with Hugh yesterday. And I asked him, I said, look, can you just watch me on this set, just in case? And anyway, we got chatting about this identity, or becoming the person, becoming the thing. And this was pertinent to more bodybuilding, right? A professional. And we were just talking about how certain people conduct themselves in a certain way before they achieve the accolade and the title. And this is kind of what you just reminded me of this then. You have to become and have those habits and behaviors of, in your case, what you just said, they're a driven, motivated person before you come out. You don't just wake up and be that person. You have to work on it, and you have to refine it. And I know the people that I've looked up to in my particular example of professionals in the space of physique, sports, and bodybuilding, they conduct themselves like a pro before they become a pro. And even there's pros that I wouldn't consider pros in my mind, and that's my personal opinion, and versus some that are because of the way they conduct themselves as an individual, the way they treat people with their training, the way they put themselves out on social media, the way they look after themselves, the way they do every set. It's that same level of precision which carries over. I mean, that saying, one of my favorites, is how you do one thing is how you do everything. And it's that same thing, right? It's like, oh, people want this, that, and the other. But you don't just get to a point and then you have it. You're not, the Lamborghini owner doesn't just go out and say, well, now I'm a Lamborghini owner. I mean, yes, technically on paper, but you need to get to a point where you're in a position to be able to do that. And that does not just happen by wishful thinking. It takes a lot of action and a lot of going against the grain, because like you just said, and this is important for people to realize, you're not always going to feel like you want to do it. Motivation is fleeting. It's like the weather. You can't rely on it. So you have to rely on discipline, habits, and behaviors. And I think, going back to what you said to tie it in, what you consume is a reminder of that. 100%. And maybe that's the thing that says, oh, you know what? That's why I'm going to keep doing that. Because if I want to be that man in our scenario, or woman, whatever you want to, or whoever you're listening, you want to be able to look at that and go, right, well, there's a reminder. I need to be doing this. Otherwise, I'm not going to become that person.
Yeah. Discipline equals freedom. Jocko Willink. One of the things I tell myself every single time I am wiping the kitchen bench down at home, how you do one is how you do all. I make sure when I wipe the bench down, I get to every corner. I lift every crevice up. I wash in between the sink. I make sure that everything's spotless. Yes, I'm OCD.
We've just won over our autistic audience. Absolutely.
But it's not so much that. It's like how you do one is how you do all.
It's the principle.
100%. And I've always been like that. It's, you know, like when it comes to hygiene, all those types of things, it's just about being squared away in as many areas as you can. It's not about being over perfect and over polished. It's just being squared away most of the time. And if you apply that to all aspects of your life, it's a pretty good chance you're going to win.
100%. 100%. I want to kick it back now to the last time we were on the podcast. As we said at the start, a lot of things has changed. You were personal training at World Gym.
Oh, yeah.
I was personal training at EMF. We were in, at this point, I think it was, they'd have Reformer Pilates in the room there. It looked like a studio where we sat, kind of, right? I was still very much balls deep doing the face-to-face coaching and whatnot.
We both were.
We both were, yeah. I think, but from memory, so you were more ahead with the content. You were putting yourself out there more. You were getting a bit of traction. You were trying some stuff. I was like dabbling. I think time, not to use excuses, was a big thing for me. What's changed? What are some of the big things? I mean, I know there's a lot, but what are some key things in your mind right now? Like, you know, like you said, then you went, fuck, you know, thinking back. What's changed? And even just what have you changed your mind about? It can be things like that.
Big thing, I've been posting every day on social media since 2017. Can you remember the year that we caught up?
I think it was just before COVID hit.
Was it in 2019 or something?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just before then.
Yeah,
and then
long time.
It all went a bit tits up.
All went a little tits up. This big virus shocked the world. Yeah, look, it was just a lot of repetitions. It was a lot of repetitions, and I was in the position where I was doing 50, 60 PT sessions a week, burning myself out, burning the candle at both ends, still posting every single day. You know, I didn't even want to think about the hours as I was doing, like 80, 90, 100 hours a week I was putting in, just burning the candle. And I think a lot happened. Of course, a lot happened, but a lot of the same shit happened day in, day out. Posting, trying different things, trying recipes, trying exercise, informative content.
One of my favorites was the clown series.
Clown series, you know, it's like, see what I mean? Like, it was always there. Like, the fuck or suck was always there. It was just hidden under, like, I did the clown series where I would put a clown mask on and do stupid shit that people would do inside the gym that no one wanted to speak about. And that people did love that. Some people hated it, but that's what you always get, the haters, right? But I suppose, what do you want to know in terms of, like, what changed? Like, what more do you want to know apart from the repetitions?
I think maybe the mindset stuff first I'd like to dive into. You know, we talked about becoming the man. Like, what's changed since then? Or do you think you were just the same person? You're just now more of it? You know, I was
always the same person. I mean, my belief system's changed in terms of how much of an impact I could have on people, how many lives that I could change. one of the big things I wanted to always get into posting on social media and helping people through health and fitness online was because I knew in a face-to-face sense, I could only ever help 30, 40 people max, right?
Limited.
Online, I knew I could see these people changing hundreds, thousands of people's lives. So my belief system did take a little bit of changing. I wasn't sure if I was ever going to be able to do it, but I was prepared to do whatever it takes for that chance to be able to get it. And now we have hundreds of people active on our challenge, and we are changing thousands of people's lives. And that belief system did, I was never sure on how long it was going to take me or if it was ever going to take off. If you had said to me 2 years ago, you're going to have an audience of over 3.8 million followers as to what I do now across all platforms, I would probably believe you because I was so driven and set on it. But at the same time, I probably would have had this belief where I was like, I hope, and I'm not going to put that out of my perspective. However, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Or maybe to not that magnitude.
Maybe not to that magnitude. I was always pretty confident I could get hundreds of thousands of followers, but I wasn't sure that it was going to go fully into the millions. So in saying that, now that it is in the millions, I'm okay with it. My business partner, Wes, said to me a little while ago, he's like, do you ever feel overwhelmed about like how many people have eyes on you every single day? And I was like, man, I have envisioned this for many, many years. And now that they're here, I'm ready. I don't feel shy. I don't shy away from it. I have worked so hard to get to this position. Now it's time to execute, change as many lives as humanly possible. So the answer is no, I don't ever feel overwhelmed because I've been thinking about this moment for so many years. I've been working towards it. I've been envisioning it, manifesting it every single day for so long. And now it's here. It's time to work.
That's probably the difference between someone that worked for it and even though maybe some of it seemed rapid, wasn't overnight, versus someone that has rapidly just gone from a very little following to a big following. Just the same as if someone has no money and goes to a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. I think that's where sometimes people run into problems because it's almost like giving a kid who's 16 and going, right, there's a Lamborghini. It's just too much horsepower.
Yeah. It's the journey that makes you. It's the journey that makes you so grateful and determines what you do when you get there. It's perspective. Like you said, that Lambo, it's just another car. But if you've had to grind and you've put the work in to get there, when you're driving it down the street, it feels different opposed to you just being handed it. There's a story behind it. There's struggle behind it. It's more than a car. It's not just a Lambo anymore. It's when you're driving it, you're driving your failures down the road, all the times you didn't believe in yourself, all the times you wanted to just pack it up and quit. That's what you're driving down the road. You're no longer just driving the Lambo. You're driving all those things.
It's multidimensional at that point because, like you said, it's a sign. And I think for a lot of people, for the individual who's going through that experience as well, it's a sign to them that you know what, you did it. You came along all of the, like you said, trials, tribulations, and failures. And it tells a story. It's kind of like muscle, building armor. Tells a story. I know a lot of people that got into building muscle were picked on or they felt inferior. I know that was part of why I got into it. But for the reason you start is sometimes not the reason you finish because then it takes on a greater meaning and a greater purpose. And I think, like you said, that's the difference between having to earn it and, as you said, probably the key word there is the journey.
Yeah. Fail fast, fail forward.
So let's unpack that then. And I want to do this in a way, and I want to set this pretense for people watching and listening as well. Because I think a lot of time when people listen to these things, they'll go, I'm going to wait. Okay, so what Matt just said then, when I get to that number, that's when it's going to happen for me. And if people who are pertinently listening already, they know that's not true because everyone's got their unique thing. But what I want to talk about is some timestamps of followings and maybe when you got to a certain level where you walked out of the gym. And I remember when you did that and that was great. That was a great win. I was very proud of you. And when you did that, and it was great for me because obviously something that I've aspired to do is a similar thing, get out of the gym, go more online, help more people. So it's nice to know that when you know people, that are genuine and have done it, and you know who they are. They're not just people on social media. Like, fuck yeah, like it's very motivating and inspiring. So I want you to talk to me about that when you got to that point when you decided to pull the pin on that and go all in online, and then even the phases as well. Okay, now I'm going all in on my content, or like you said, the series, things like that. And it doesn't have to be in any particular way. It's just whatever you articulate. But I want to kind of go through phases as you envision it in your mind, chapters, if you will, about getting to these different phases and going, right, now it's time to do this, and now it's time to do this. Because what I'm getting at here, Matt, is we often see the bricks, but not the cement, right? It's the stuff in between the bricks that people neglect, but that's the shit that holds it together. And importantly, yes, you need both. But that's what I really want to talk about, because that's what I'm interested in. Yeah, you know, you see the things and you know the markers and where you've got to, and we've talked about that. But like, let's talk about the stuff in between that. Let's talk about you wiping the crumbs off the bench when the camera's not on, because that's the stuff, right?
100%.
You see what I'm saying?
2014, I started my business in August. And August 2014, working 2 jobs. I remember it very clearly. I was working in a bar. I was doing my PT. But I listened to a Tony Robbins motivational YouTube. And I remember it said, if you want to take the island, you must burn the boats. That saying has carried with me the whole time. In August 2014, I set fire to my boats, and I never, ever had a plan B. I worked my way up to 60 PT sessions a week, and I was very fortunate to have a great mentor in the very beginning, which I also contribute a lot of my success to. I had a good mentor, but also I had an unbeatable work ethic from where I came from previously, sheep shearing and hard labor and perspective. And it wasn't until I started my Instagram in 2014, but it wasn't until 2017 that I really started to think to myself, online is where this is going to go. Because I could see people coming up through the ranks, like James Smith was probably one of the first. And I could see these people coming up. I could see there was more than just face-to-face PT, which back in those days, mate, that's all we bloody did, face-to-face PT. But
these youngsters won't know what that is.
These youngsters, mate. But yeah, we were just pumping the sessions out. You know what? But that was so great because I had such a great understanding of working with, you know, hundreds of clients over the years. And I started in 2017 posting frequently, and through my repetition of, you know, just doing the same shit every single day, I've always been a man of repetition and routine. And I decided that I'm going to start posting once a day, every day. And that's pretty much what I did. I didn't see much growth in the beginning. I think I grew to like 14,000 followers in 3 years of posting every single day. And I remember there was 2 years, so it must have been 17, 18, 19. So 2000, it must have been 2000, yeah, around 19, I had 14,000 followers. And for 2 years, I went from 14 to 15,000, 15,000 back to 14.8, 15.2, and I'd just go from that to that. 2 years posting every single day, not growing any followers, posting every single day. And I didn't let my story die either. That was another thing. So
Character building.
for 2 years, my story never died, and my story on Instagram, and my posting stayed consistent every single day. And I was just trying different shit. I was just trying to always have the forefront of my mind. I want to solve people's problems. I want to help other people. A mentor told, the same mentor that helped me in 2014, he said to me, forget the words I, me, my. This isn't about you. It's what you can do to help others. So remove that from your vocabulary. And it's not to say that you can't speak about yourself and your own journey, but you should always have in the forefront of your mind who you're trying to help and what it is you're trying to get across in order to, you know, bring them value. So I just tried a bunch of different shit. Training, cooking, nutrition tips, on the whiteboard, coming up with the clown series. And it was just a bunch of that over and over and over again.
Putting the reps in.
2023, I started heavily doing the recipes. Some of them went really good. Some of them went viral. And all during this time, it was all face-to-face, maintaining 40 to 50 sessions a week. I feel like I probably could have stepped away from the face-to-face sooner, but it was in the beginning of 2023, I was starting to grow a following, but I think I got up to 30,000 followers by 2023. Bear in mind, I started in 2017 every single day, so she was a slow grind, mate. It was like that 1RM deadlift that you just shaking to get up. So it was 2023, and then in 2024, that's when things went to like I think I got in 2024 I got to 100,000, I think 115,000 followers in 2024 towards the end, and then it wasn't until 2025 that's where I saw the big growth, and the Fuck or Suck series came early-ish in 2025. And I was like the bamboo tree, right? So a bamboo tree you plant in the ground and it takes 7 years underneath, and then it spurts up in a couple of months. So basically I grew from the start of 2025 at 115,000 followers. I got up to 1.2 million by the end of 2025. But it took me since 2017 to 2025 to gain 110,000 followers. And then from there, through more failures than I can possibly even think of or tell you about, that's when the Fuck or Suck series was born, and that's where things really took off. But there's so much stuff inside those years of failures that helped me get to that point. Like I said, we mentioned at the start, it was, delving deep into my client avatar, who I truly wanted to work with, who I truly wanted to help, finding some key messaging that they could resonate with, and then creating virality and content that would feed into that. Boom, Fuck or Suck, away we go. 1.8 million catches later.
It's almost like it's the 1,000 cuts, to use another maybe Japanese analogy, right?
I love my analogies, bro.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Death by 1,000 cuts, bro.
Speaking of 1,000 cuts, out of interest, how many videos have you made so far on Instagram?
Well, let's have
I was going to say, I was going to bring it up.
As of right now, as of we sit here.
Because I think people don't understand the level of volume. This is why I want to talk about this.
3,048 posts I've done.
There you go.
That's a lot of posts.
And I've just...
Considering, guys, my posts before I put an editor on, which is only a couple of months ago, one Fuck or Suck reel would take me 4 hours.
And then that's for about just over a minute, wasn't it?
Minute 30. So 3,000 times 4 hours. Do that, and you can have yourself 1.8 million followers. Hopefully it won't take you that long.
That's
Hopefully it won't take you that long.
But that's it. And that's why I said when I wanted to preface it, because it's going to be different for different people, and there's no right or wrong. Some people will get it faster than others. There is something to be said about doing the work. But once again, kind of maybe the theme of this podcast is coming. We're talking about the philosophy. The underlying philosophy is you got to fall in love with the process and the journey, and you got to do the reps. And you can't think, okay, give me the number. It's like when people come to you, Matt, what's the best food for this? Or when will I get that? Well, I can't tell you, but all I can tell you, if you do these habits, you will get to that goal eventually. But I can't give you the one thing. I can't put an exact number on it on this scenario. Right. But you do have to put the reps in. I mean, I only reached 750 yesterday. On the way to 1,000. I've not been posting as much as you, but credit to you. And we had this conversation. I think it was it the back end of last year? I think it was the back end of last year, actually. And you said to me, he's like, you just need to keep swinging the bat. He's like, bro, just post every day. And I'd sort of like, yeah, that's simple to do. And I would sort of go on bursts and spurts. But this year, I'm proud to say, I've not missed a day. And even the points and the days where I've been like, oh, maybe I'm a little bit unprepared or not as prepared as I'd like to be. I've and again, like you, I've spent an unnecessary amount of hours either editing or finding posts or overthinking the fucking captions or whatever I need to do. But what is more important than doing the thing is building the habit.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was really hard initially of someone who is what would perceived as I'm quite an eccentric character. I'm pretty out there. But I also think people have not seen all the years that I have been in front of the video camera, even if it wasn't consistent or like doing things like YouTube and podcasts. But it was actually, even for me, having the discipline to turn up every day and do something and post something. And then eventually it becomes the thing, like, oh, that's just what I do. But then all of a sudden you're getting these ideas and it starts to flow and you start to piece things together. It's like a muscle. And you start to contract it and it's better and you can lift more and you can do more and you've got that ability, like you said, to how do you get to a point where you spend that long editing a video? It doesn't start that way, does it? Because you have not the mental capacity to do it. And just turning up and doing those reps. And eventually, yeah, you know what? It could, how long's a piece of string? My granddad used to say that all the time. I said, I don't know. He goes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's great. Because I can't, if someone comes to us and say, well, how long will it take? I don't know. But the sooner you start fucking posting daily and turn up and doing the reps, the sooner you're going to get there.
Apply this to a fitness journey, Alex. Like, if I was to ask you what's been the one thing that's the most consistent with you to be able to build your physique, what would you say it is?
As in a habit?
Well, if you were to just say if you were to give me one sentence on how you've achieved your physique and being so healthy in all of the years of training, what has it been?
Hitting macros.
Yeah. And what's that? And hitting macros every single day is consistency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Just doing the same shit over and over. Like in the fitness world, everyone's drawn to the next diet, the next drink, the next fasting protocol, carnivore, vegan, paleo. Everyone wants the shiny light to be able to get them on the fast track there. But what matters is sleeping every day, hitting your macros, not over consuming calories, nutrient dense, whole foods, those types of things that are boring, not so sexy, done over and over again are the things that build a successful physique and a successful lifestyle of health and fitness. And the same thing goes to every aspect of your life. If you're trying to build a social media into the boring shit, I always say, ego is the enemy. You can always learn off other people, whether they're doing better than you or doing not as good as you. You can always learn what not to do off those guys, and it can be good confirmation. But you can always be an open book and be a sponge and absorb and just continue to stay on the path and get better every single day and start at zero every day and just keep on swinging the bat. Like I said to you, mate, keep on swinging that bat.
And it works.
Yeah.
And it works. Like you said, it's not necessarily an overnight thing. But
A river,
you're right, it's consistency.
A river cuts through a rock through its persistency, not through one giant gush. It's just constantly streaming through that rock over years and years, and that's how a river cuts through rock, mate. Did you know that?
Yep. Yeah.
That's how I cut through. That's how I cut through the rock of Instagram.
I was gonna say you had to really run that river, didn't you, mate?
I ran that stream, mate. I didn't let her stop. And that's there's secret. There's secret in the repetitions and falling in love with the process, and that's what we always say to our clients. Like, being healthy and fit doesn't always mean going to the gym and slamming the weights. It can be, being active, walking, doing Pilates and swimming or CrossFit. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be lifting weights up and down like a bodybuilder. But what's most important is you falling in love with the process and enjoying it. If it's a chore and you don't want to show up and do it, like over the years, I've seen many people try to attack the online space, and the biggest thing they struggle with is consistency and showing up day after day, because it is a hard game. And although it looks easy and social media makes everything look like it's fucking perfect and polished, it's not. It's hard work. It's a grind. There's no such thing as Saturday, Sunday, or public holidays. It's every single day is the same. And, it's like I always like to say, you sleep on a win, you wake up on a loss, and there's always someone out there willing to be doing the work, which reminds me of a scene in Pumping Iron, if anyone's a fan.
Oh, come on. We know that people listening to this are a fan.
Louis Ferrigno's father says to him, Louis, you got to remember, you're training hard, they may be training twice as hard. And I always think of myself when I say that. I'm like, there's always someone out there pushing harder. And another saying out of that one is, the wolf at the top of the hill is never as hungry as the wolf climbing the hill. And Arnold's a smart ass, and he says, yeah, but when he wants the food, it's there.
And if he's doing 20, you're doing 30.
You got to remember that, Louis. And then he's like, put more weight on the bar. I want to beat him.
Literally. And he became the Hulk.
That's exactly right. But you got to have that savage mindset at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Because it's so true. There's always someone climbing the ladder. But as long as you're doing the best you can every single day and you're putting the reps in and you just got to fucking outwork them and just keep on pushing. And that's the thing. Like, no one will – some people may outwork me, but I'll always tell myself I won't be outworked because I'll never leave any stone unturned. Like, I always say to myself, I will not be outworked. Like, I'm putting in my maximum effort.
Yeah,
There's some people in the world like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, my mate anyway. He's
Yeah,
commented
is he
on
coming around for a beer later? Yeah, or a protein shake.
Yeah, like, you know, like there's always people out there that are going to be, and not to say that I won't be more successful than Dwayne Johnson, but don't want to put a ceiling on this roof.
No,
but do you know what I mean? Like there's
pessimistic.
always going to be people that always come from a place of I will not be outworked, but there's going to be people that are probably going to be more successful than you at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's a balance in between staying humble and having that mindset. You know what I mean? Like behind the scenes and, you know, when you're sitting in the sauna sweating it out, I'll say to myself, I will not be fucking outworked. But like, I'll say it on this podcast, but I don't go sprinting it around the place, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be out there on Instagram saying, nobody's going to fucking outwork me. And
You're not doing
like
a Goggins online.
Yeah, exactly. But they're the things that sometimes you've got to tell yourself, but then remain humble at the same time. I think it's very important to visit who you are as an individual and stay humble at all times and stay grounded and always remember where you come from.
Positive self-talk.
100%, yeah.
It's a key thing. And we all do it subconsciously, whether you want to call it a mantra, you know, or a confidence script or whatever it is. But it is very true. And that's the thing. You've got to focus on what I was thinking about then when you were talking about, you know, listing those things off and attributes and traits. There's no secrets. But I also got to thinking, do you think maybe, Matt, people, they have the information, and Crystal's favourite saying is hidden in plain sight. Look near before you look far, right? Which is very true. And oftentimes it is just doing those boring, unsexy things, because the boring things over time become sexy. That's what gets you there. And I think a lot of people, not everyone, people know that. But do you think that people keep searching for it just like the magic pill in fitness because they're just trying to avoid the thing in front of them, which is the hard work, which is the boring thing, just in aid of the fact that maybe there's someone else out there. And for every time that you're looking for a magic pill, there's about 20 people that's going to sell you one. Or here's the thing. I mean, you must see it as well a lot because of where you're at in the content space now. You know, people, like we see all these business coaches, right? And they say, you know, this is my client. This is Tim. Tim's just made $100,000 this month. But this business coach has never built a $100,000 business. He's making money off Tim, and he's got Tim to take money up front. But Tim isn't making $100,000 a month every month. He just took cash up front. But they bring him around and create that testimonial. It's all a fucking facade. And I think it's the same with people selling these, guys, all you need to do. Like, I know for me, we talked about this morning. We've both invested in some doozies. And I invested in some individuals last year, and they were shit. But I learned how not to do it, and I learned that.
You always take something from it, right?
Yeah, exactly. If these individuals were charging this much for this course content, wow, what could I do, even in the realms of what I'm doing? And it was so convoluted, but it was like, you know, cold DMs, getting into DMs, doing all this. I'm not saying that can't work, but it was a lot of effort for a very low return. But really, it was just another thing that to create work, to create value that wasn't there. But those things are really obsolete, because if you actually just turn up and make daily content that solves the problems for the people that you want to fucking work with, and you continually show value and create goodwill over time, you're going to get people who not only customers to fans, or should I say people who follow you, but then they do want to become customers, but then they become fans because they're like, fuck, I love what Alex does. I love what Matt does. I resonate with the way he talks, the problems he solves, the people he's helping, rather than trying to bloody get in the cold DMs and give the hard sell, or get them on a bloody sales call and sell them some bloody high ticket thing they don't need. Like, that will happen if you build it properly.
Firstly, fuck that way of getting people in.
Exactly.
Firstly, fuck that way of getting people in. Secondly, there is so many sharks disguised as dolphins. It's not funny. They're coming up around your boat. They're telling you this is the way to the shore. But, mate, you jump in the water with them, they turn into a shark and they rip you to pieces. There's so many people out there trying to make a buck doing it. And then thirdly, that's what I'm so proud of what we've built with the Fuck With the Lights On challenge is we put the information out there. We give so much free content, free information that we don't have to be going into people's DMs. Like, I get so annoyed of appointment setters coming into my DMs every single day. I was like, bro, you think that people that are actually going to be good to work with are going to respond to this? Like, we're getting 30, 40, 50 messages a day of the same pitch. Do you know what I mean? So that is just the wrong way to go about it. It's much better to be able to put content out there, let people make their own decision. If people want to buy and come and join you, they will. And I think, if you preach the right message and you put out the right information, the right people will come in. We can apply this way of thinking, like, if let's all just think that we've gone and seen the best movie, right? If you see an infomercial for that movie and someone's saying, you've got to go and see this movie, you don't know this person on the infomercial, and they're saying, you've got to go and see this movie, it's the best. It's kind of like, well, why are you trying to tell me to go and see this movie? But if you're out for breakfast and you say to me, Matt, I just went and seen the new Spider-Man movie, this thing is off its head, and I'm a Marvel fan, and I'm like, holy shit, I need to go and see it because someone I trust has told me that. It's the same in business or in the same on social media. If you build that know, like, and trust, and you are genuine and you put out something where people, are drawn to it, it's going to be a lot easier on you and it's going to be a lot better on them. And once you get them inside the program or whatever it is you're trying to sell, it's going to be a much better experience on both behalves because you haven't forced anyone to be there.
Yeah, 100%. And I think because that almost seems not easy, but it's simple. There's no real strategy to, right, this is what you do and this is what people overlook it all the time. And like you said, they keep getting caught out by the dolphins, right?
Yep.
Which are just sharks underneath. And then I also think at some point it's like, well, it's like people who come to you with fitness and they keep chasing the magic pill. I'm like, at some point you got to look at the common denominator here. You can't be a victim. You've got to start to wake up. If you burn yourself 3 times, you got to go, well, fucking, what am I not learning now?
Exactly.
You need to start creating some self-awareness. But as you said, if you focus on putting out great quality content, then, the best defense is offense because you're on the attack in some ways. You're putting it out rather than trying to get into those DMs and comments and put the hard sell on people. It's like, you don't need to sell when you do a great job. Like when you were back personal training. I don't know about you, but the best advertisement, apart from yourself, leading by example.
Hello, on the gym floor.
Exactly. Right? How you conduct yourself is also the fucking results you have.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, hey, Jess, who do you train with? You're looking great. Jess is probably talking to people because she's really impressed with the results. Oh, I train with Matt, Road to Aesthetics. Yeah, it's this, and this, and this. Oh, I think I want a slice of that. How do I contact him? Or what does he charge? Or what is it like? And they're just singing your praises. And next minute, referrals. But when we were speaking about paid ads, right? It's like that same dichotomy.
Yeah.
You don't need to advertise or paid advertise if you're already a walking canvas and your clients and the people that you interact with and the content, in this case, that you put out there is a walking advertisement in and of itself.
Yeah.
And I think maybe something as well, correct me if I'm wrong, because this is where you have a lot more experience. I believe the algorithm pushes content that is liked. So if you're producing good content and it's getting likes and shares, that is going to be shown to more people because it's more advantageous for the platform to show content like that. Where if you're creating something that, it's not hitting, it's not like they want, because I think a lot of people think the algorithm's against them, but I'm like, no, you're just not quite understanding how to create content.
You got to play into the game a little bit. You've got to play into the hooks. You've got to play into the captive content a little bit. You can't just put out good information, unfortunately, because you can, put out the information on how beneficial sleep can be. But if you just start your reel and you say, do you know how beneficial it is for you to sleep 7 to 9 hours a day? And if you stop doing these 3 things before bed, people are already tuned out. People don't really want to know those 3 things. They've already you've lost them in the first 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So it might be a case of changing that and having a Panadol pill there and saying, if you were to be able to take this pill and sleep 9 hours every single night for the rest of your life, would you consume it? That's way more.
Enticing.
Give me that fucking pill.
Yeah.
And then you can go in and say, well, much like taking this pill, which is paracetamol, it's going to stop your, headache for X amount of time. And the same thing might be for your sleep. It might give you sleep for 9 hours, but then the next night, what are you going to do? And then you can go into your reel. So that was just one I came up with off the top of my head. But do you know what I mean? It needs a little bit. So you can use these hooks and triggers and that would be a double hook if you've got like a prop as well as what you're saying. So you can use these things to not manipulate your audience, but get them engaged and then deliver the quality content. Because unfortunately, through social media, everyone knows we're just scrolling. You're on a never-ending scroll. People are there to just consume and chill out. And if you don't get them in the first couple of seconds, you're fucked. And you can still play into the game of social media and still give them good quality content. You don't need to go down the route of actually trying to push the pill to solve problems, or the magic drink, or saying one thing to kind of stir everyone up in the comments and then like leave the context of what actually works out. I called out a reel recently where it was a lady that just had a drink, and she was like, if you add this if you add this to coconut water, and you add this to coconut water, and you add this to coconut water, basically it's going to solve all your problems without any context, right? But what you should have said is, yes, the coconut water can hydrate you, it can suppress hunger if you add this into it. However, if you don't have your sleep under control, your nutrition, if you are not drinking enough water, if you are not strength training, all these types of things, that coconut water is going to be fucking useless.
Yeah.
And context matters, and it's important not to fall into that trap of easy views, easy followers, because you're just, like I said, you're building a house out of straw, and at the end of the day, you need to be attracting the right people to your page.
100%. I think that's where good content needs to be redefined, which is probably what you've just touched base on then. And that's something that I wanted to speak about is, the reality versus Instagram thing of what good content is, because it is a fine line. When we've got a small window, an attention span, because generally a reel, 40, maybe a minute and a half is kind of the sweet spot, or so it seems. You can play devil's advocate, and you can easily get caught up by going, well, what about this and what about that? And you start to then do too much, and you try to give too much information on a reel. Or like you said, it's the way you present that information. You don't have to be deceiving, but then you can go too far that way as well, right? Where you've got people who are just, you can tell it's the hook, as we call it, or the opening line is very controversial, but to the point where it's not organic and it's not getting, as James would say, paid off. You're not paying them off. You've kind of just said something, but then you've not really taught me. You just said that to get me in, and then you've gone somewhere else. Or you've said something that's so outlandish that is not true at all. Or as you just used that example there with that lady, it's like, well, hang on, what you said wasn't untrue, but you didn't really give it context. So therefore, this is the way I think about it. I'm part of the problem then. Because the problem, and again, you've got to learn the craft and you'll get better and you'll make mistakes. The problem with social media is the quantity and sheer volume of shite that people are confused by. So from the standpoint of what we do is providing a content that's going to help solve people's problems. So if we're creating more confusion, and again, this is going to be subjective, there's always going to be a rule to the law, but then it's not really, like you said, we're building it wrong, because maybe the following is coming because we're controversial, or we're doing something that's like, oh yeah, it gets clicks and likes, or it might look visually stimulating, but not really aligned with the true thing. And I think, like you said, that's where people get distracted, right? And they'll start going, oh, I can see that's getting me views. And then they start going down that path. And next minute, they're an OnlyFans creator.
Yeah.
Where it's staying true to the thing you want to do, but it's knowing how to package it.
Because you don't want to build an audience. Like if you do not like cooking and recipes hit really well, and you just do it because you know that you're going to gain followers and views, you don't want to do that, because then you're stuck with an audience that wants to see recipes, and then like that's useless to you unless you're going to be stuck doing things that you don't like. So make sure when you are figuring out your audience that you have the end goal in mind, because you don't want to find yourself doing shit that you don't want to be doing every single day.
No. Do you know what I think of visually when I think of that is, do you remember back, say, let's use Tekken or something like that, or a video game, and there was always that character that you had, and it didn't have it wasn't like really great at anything, but it had like good speed, good agility, good endurance, and it was like really hard to beat because it was really well rounded. I feel like when you create your content, that's what I'm envisioning anyway, kind of needs to be like that to you. You need enough of each of the ingredients, because if you go too far one way, it doesn't work. Because like you said, if you're not encompassing things that you're going to continue to do and address problems that you can actually solve and talk in a way that is authentic to you, and we spoke about this again on the old morning chinwag, but you become this character. And we know a lot of people that are very different on Instagram than they are in reality. And of course, there's always a bit more zing when you're on camera, I think, especially when you're doing a minute reel. There might be some pizzazz depending on what you're doing. But man, you know, if you're putting that mask on, that's going to crack at some point. And how long can you maintain that? And isn't that more exhausting in the end?
Very exhausting. You've got to be, you know, I'm not sitting on this podcast with a jazz hand going.
No, exactly. Yeah, no.
But I would be someone that says fucks or sucks. And as you can see, I curse and I use swear words and things like that. So it's easy for me to get into character. Some, like you said, like some days you don't quite feel, you know, I am human at the end of the day. Some days you don't feel like.
Yeah, but you've not done a Jim Carrey.
Exactly.
And turned up and no one fucking recognizes.
Exactly right. You know, that's exactly right. So it's important to feed into who you are. And, you know, everyone is unique in their own special way. And you don't need to be like anyone else. You can be yourself, and there's enough people out there like you. Don't feel like you need to be someone else. And that was one of the things that held me back in my content. Way back when I started in 2017, I'd have people say, you can't swear. You know, not everyone likes swearing. And even when I started the Fuck or Suck series, before it exploded, I had a lot of people be like, I can't share this with my mother, and can you stop swearing? I'm repulsed. And I would get hate messages and people tell me to stop doing it. But I was like, I got to this point where I was like, you know what? Well, I started seeing a bit of growth, but this was genuinely myself. And I was like, fuck this. I'm going to be who I am, because one, it's working, and fuck all you guys. Like, you're never going to be a part of my life or my coaching anyway, because you don't fit. The glove doesn't fit. And that's completely okay. Nothing against those people. That's okay. You're just in your lane. I'm in my lane. And I think that's kind of important to remember as well. You're never, ever going to be able to please everyone. And if you do create a bit of a divide like that, it's actually a good sign, because it shows you that the people that will stay are going to buy into you more. And if you try to please everyone, you'll end up with no one.
Literally.
Find your people.
100%. And the sooner you put out your authentic self, woo as that sounds, or just be true to what you want to do and say, because it's not like you're going out your way to swear. No. That is just who you are. It would be different if you did, and we know people who like try to do the Connie thing or the James Smith thing, like, and you can tell when they're putting it on, and it's so bad because you're like, that's
cringy.
You just you don't say that. Like, you might say that word, but you don't say it like that, and therefore it's just not your thing. But as you said rightly as well, I think a lot of people are not who they want to be. One, because they probably don't know who they are, but that's another story. That's another podcast. But also because they're scared. But you need to be polarizing, right? You can't be vanilla, like you said, because if you're trying to please everyone, you're going to please no one at the end of the day.
100%.
And that's going to end up nowhere. So then you're just kind of spinning your wheels, or you're just like white rice or vanilla. And that's just not good.
Not good for anyone.
Not good for anyone. Not really. Not if you're trying to get somewhere. So what I want to ask as well, what's while we're on social media and content, what do you think is a surprising, it doesn't need to be like a fact, but something surprising that maybe you've learned about social media that you think most people are unaware of, that don't, not necessarily have a big following, but are not aware of in social media? And it could be something that you've learned from your time on social media, apart from what you've already mentioned, which I think is putting the time and actually the dedication that goes into it. Or it could be something else, which you're like, fuck, actually, here's something I thought about social media, but this is not true at all.
Okay, well, if we're talking about like what people aren't aware of, I think people aren't aware of, one, how much effort it actually takes and how you've got to show up every single day, no matter how you're feeling. Like, it's a very relentless thing to do. The other thing is, once you gain a following, the one thing that I wasn't really aware of is what you do somewhat behind closed doors. If you like someone else's post or you comment on someone else's post and your audience or a part of your audience doesn't agree with that, that can have repercussions towards you. So it almost feels like, you know, I've always treated my business like my Instagram very much as a business. So I don't share too much personal stuff on there in terms of beliefs politically and those types of things. It does annoy a lot of people, but I only have to like a certain post that someone else won't agree with, and then all of a sudden I've got a bunch of DMs of people unhappy. So I think A lot of people don't understand how full on it is and how much of the public eye you are in. So that would be one thing. Does that answer the part of the question?
I mean, it's anything that comes to mind, like you said, and these are things that I'm probably unaware of as well, so I don't know. And that's the thing. It's what, as you were saying there, what are some things that people aren't aware of? And maybe when you get to this level of following, like you said, one thing that, okay, I like a post. I don't think anything of it. I think, yeah, I like that post. But now you're in a position, if I'm understanding this correctly, where when you like a post, maybe there's a second thought because you're going, hang on, some fucker's going to look at this and maybe make a judgment whether you care or not.
Yeah.
But it has that ripple creates a tidal wave.
100%. So, like, for example, like everyone loves recipes. People are okay with the word fuck. All right, we've pre-qualified them on that. They're following me for that reason. Jake Paul. He's a famous YouTuber. Most people are aware of him. If I like one of Jake Paul's photos and someone doesn't like him for his political views, even though I've liked one of his photos that's, boxing in the gym for his hard work and determination, all of a sudden I'm copping hate from people saying, I can't believe you're supporting Jake Paul. He's a Trump supporter. I was like, well, bro.
They're just drawing these conclusions.
I'm literally liking his photo because he's boxing in the gym and that guy's worked so hard to get to where he is. Conor McGregor, people like that. People love and hate him. Oh my God, Conor McGregor did this. There's many things that he's been accused of. I enjoy Conor McGregor for the motivation that he's given me over the years and what he's achieved outside of his private life. And if I've only got to like one of his photos and then all of a sudden I'm copping a bunch of hate because all of a sudden I am in the position of taking on his heat from the mistakes that he's made. So I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand. And that probably only comes from – that never used to happen to me. It's only now that I've got a large audience because, people, like I said, they're okay with the recipes and the word fuck, but once they see something that they don't agree on, all of a sudden you're having those repercussions. So I think that's one thing that I've actually never heard anyone else speak of. Maybe I'm the only one that it happens to. I'm sure it happens to other people with bigger followings, but that's one thing definitely that I was never aware of.
Well, it's something so simple because it's literally like a second and two fine motor skills later, and that happens.
Yeah, and it's kind of like disappointing for me because I'm like, fuck, now I feel like I can't support the people that have helped me.
Well, it's in the back of your mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because now when you go, if I like something, I don't really think about it. I'm like you said, I'm liking it for what it is. I might not agree with everything someone does. And if someone's really like, oh, fuck, I don't believe in their ethics and beliefs, I'm not going to follow them. But if there's something that maybe is controversial, but I'm liking this particular post, like you said, it's a performance thing, whatever it is. I'm liking it for what it is, but like if you think, fuck, man, if people got that much time on their hands, clearly they do, to look into it that much, and from that small little thing, they've drawn that conclusion.
Yeah.
You're like, fucking hell. Which kind of brings me on to, and we spoke about this in the inbox, right? I've talked to you about this. How do you deal with haters? Comments. I mean, you've shared some absolute belters, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of deeply unsettled people out there with too much time on their hands. That's what I've learned, even more so from what you've shared. But talk to us about that a little bit.
Unfortunately, hate is a part of the game, but always remembering that hate comes from below. Hate never comes from above. And it's genuinely a place of where they are unhappy with themselves. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much, although sometimes hate comments catch you on a bad day. But I'm not going to beat myself up too much because I know they're in a worse place. They're coming from a place of something that's going wrong with their lives. And I don't waste emotional energy on things I can't control, and that is out of my control. They've said what they wanted to say. You can never, ever win an argument from someone on the internet that is hating on you. They'll always be right, no matter what you say. So if there's a point where I can, learn from it, I always try to assess the hate comments. If they're being straight out nasty, hateful, it's a quick block and go away. But sometimes they might say something where I'm like, maybe I can actually learn a little bit from that. Maybe there is a sense of them being right slightly. I try to look at it from all angles if it's not like so directly hateful and then pull whatever I need from it. Or if I can put a point across, if they're like picking on an ingredient that I'm using but they're misinformed, I might respond back to it and say in a nice way, hey, it's actually not the case. This is what it is. Generally, they'll come back and hate more. But a a lot of people actually see my response and actually learn from what I'm saying. So you're kind of like using what they're saying. And then sometimes if it's a little bit of playful hate, I'll be a bit cheeky back, and people seem to like that as well. But I just don't let it feed me too much. I kind of, many years ago, came up with this game that I play where it's like I am in a video game simulation, and these are just all people that come, like if you're playing Call of Duty, they're just haters, just like another soldier that comes around the corner. Boom, boom, pop a couple of rounds into him, keep moving. That's it. That's how I see it. I was like, pum, pum, and then move on to the next one. Block, block, and then move
It's like
next.
fucking whack-a-mole.
Yeah,
They
and then
keep
like
coming.
I used to do this thing, well, I still actually do it, to be deadly fair. What I do is you read the hate comment, you block them, and then you try to remember what their name was. I can never remember what their name was. And it was like, it's never going to have that much of an effect on you. And what they're saying, you know, if they're not in your foxhole, if it's not someone that's in my immediate circle, then their opinion really doesn't matter that much. So block, move on. And, you know, like I said, do not waste emotional energy on things you can't control, because if you put emotional energy into that, there's just going to be another one tomorrow, another one coming, and they're in a shit spot. Recognize that, wish them all the best and hope they're okay, block them and move on.
Yeah.
But they do affect you. Like, you don't want to, you know, don't hate when you hear on podcasts and shit and people are like, fuck the haters, they don't affect me. Like, sometimes they do get to you, but it's just about having a mindset where most of the time they don't. And yeah, just dealing with it to the best of your ability and moving on.
I think it's a bit of a skill. It's another muscle
Yeah,
that
it
you've
is.
got to, because I mean, like everyone obviously, you know, has a disagreement at some point or has been in an argument, but you know, energy goes where attention flows, and the more you give it, the more it exacerbates, and like you says, it exhausts you. But I think it's also something that you do probably get better and better at dealing with, because if you all of a sudden, again, let's say for example, you have grown really fast. Say someone grows really fast on social media and they do something, and all of a sudden they always hate and they've never had that before. That's probably going to be a little bit more difficult than if it was sort of a graded exposure to it, like where they've
100%.
kind of moved up and they've learned to deal with it, and maybe they've gone, oh, okay, well, you know what, I'd once have had a retort for that comment, where now that comment probably just needs to be deleted.
Yeah.
Whereas, like you said, you gauge it. Like when I was listening to you speak, then you were sort of categorizing it, but it's like, how do you know when to put the playful comment? How do you know when to do, like, obviously there's some more obvious ones, but you've kind of got that experience now where you're like, yeah, I'll give I know that one's not hitting, that's a playful one, or delete that one, or you know what, this is an opportunity to maybe educate people.
Exactly. And it's just having that experience, you know, if someone says that recipe, I've had this and it tastes like shit, I'll be like,
subjective.
No, I'll just generally say something along the lines of, that's funny, I don't eat shit, but I'm glad you can let us know what shit tastes like. Something like that.
That's a very you comment.
Yeah, like you just come back to something like that. But just remember as well, like when you are creating content, all of us are programmed to focus on negativity. The world has this program. That's what the news is all about. Social media is all about. They want to share the bad stories. That, you know, oh, did you? And then you even notice like conversations that you have with your friends. Oh, did you hear about that person that drowned last week? Like people want to share bad news because it's hooking and engaging. They want to be in the know and they want to be shocking, as well as like, I actually read a book called More Funny, More Money, and it talks about like the behaviors of people and what hooks people in as well. And obviously, you know, you can do it through humor, you can do it through hate. There's a lot of different ways you can do it through negativity. Different aspects will hook people in, right? So hate is one of those. Negativity is one of those. So be very careful. If you've got 200 great comments, one hate comment, be very careful not to focus on that one, because I'll often have to check myself. There's so many good comments. People are saying, I love this recipe. Thanks so much. Your information that you put out helped me so much. I lost 20 pounds. And there'll be one idiot being like, I fucking hate the way you dance around the kitchen. Have a look at yourself. Grow up. You're a childish idiot, or whatever they'll say. And then all of a sudden you forget about all the good comments and you're focused on this one.
Yeah. You're
just
like,
block that motherfucker and keep on feeding the people that are, you know, actually getting benefit. Like, do them a favor by taking your content away from them and then focus on the good shit. So as long as you're getting more good comments than bad comments, I think you're doing a good job.
Yeah, it's very true. I'm not sure if I shared this page with you lately, but it's a post and it says, good news around the world that no one's talking about.
I love
And
that.
it's actually,
You haven't, but you should share that.
I was going to say, I thought I might have. I'm
Definitely
going to
share
share it. It's a great page. And it's actually epic things that are happening around the world that people are doing, but it sadly doesn't get as much exposure because, like you said, negative news does. I got gifted a book years ago called Factfulness, and it's a running tally and it's constantly updated. And it was conceived by a Swedish scientist, and he's got his kids and his kids' kids are doing it now. And basically they collate all these facts about the world because we think the world is getting worse, and it isn't. It's getting drastically better. Everything from the death rates to, say, for example, women in jobs, education, starvation, and it has everything. And the whole point of the book was to raise an awareness because people in their mind go, oh, the world's getting worse. And it's like, okay, there's certain things which, because we reminisce, like, oh, those were the days, get a VHS, whatever it is. Now everything's on Netflix, gone are the days of certain things, but that's not necessarily bad. That's just evolution and technology. But this book puts into alignment facts, and that's why it's called Factfulness. It's like, hey, you think the world is getting worse? It's not. Like, it's getting better. It's a better place to live, and here's the facts to back it up. And these statistics that you just read them and it just fucking puts you in a different place mentally. I think, like you said, it's so easy to focus on the negative the comment, because what is that saying, or not the saying, but the statistic now, if you go to a restaurant and you have a good experience, you'll tell 3 people. If you have a bad experience, you'll tell 5 people or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the industry, or the way humans are geared towards trying to minimize negativity when it comes from an inward perspective, or hey, this is my business, you said something negative, that's going to hit me hard, versus, okay, but hang on, but if most of these reviews are good, now if they're all bad, there's a problem, or a majority, but if they're all actually most of them good, then maybe, like you said, it's
exactly
way, because for 10 good, 1 bad don't mean anything.
That's right. Be careful where you spend your energy, because those guys will continue to take as well. The haters, they've got all the time in the world. So the more energy you give them, they just keep going back and forth. Just fuck them off and move on.
It's great advice.
Yeah.
Now, for the astute viewers that are watching, and for the people who aren't watching, you probably should watch this. But you might be listening, so I might have to paint a picture. I asked you to bring some items that had sentimental value that had been sitting on this table, which someone might have thought were just basically your dirty undies or something like that sat there, right? And a script, but it's not. And this is a new segment that we're doing on the podcast. So I want you to describe, I guess, for the viewers listening, and show for the viewers watching what you've brought, and tell me why you brought them and what they mean to you.
Well, I've got 2 items here. You told me to bring one, but I couldn't just bring one.
That's good.
I'm going to start off in order of what came first, the chicken or the egg. No.
And that's what he's got, folks.
I'm going to start off with one of my favourite shearing singlets. So we didn't actually speak about this, but I was a sheep shearer for 6 years, and this is where I built my work ethic.
This
and
is on part 1, though. This is on if people want to listen.
Yeah, this is on part 1.
But you should definitely go back and listen to episode
So there it is there, guys. It's Australian shearing equipment, Wagga Wagga, keeping you a blow in front. And I wore this singlet many times, and it was one of my favourite shearing singlets. It's got the drop tail at the back, because when you're bent over like a half-open pocket knife every day, you need to keep the back warm. So it was the shearing singlet to start with. I've kept it this whole time. This is the foundation of my work ethic, and I've never had a harder day's work since I quit shearing. And I said to myself, the day I finished shearing was the day I retired. And I truly believe it. It's like that hard work, I've never had to put in as much work as I did when I was shearing. So that's very, very close to me. And something that has got me through so many hard days, and that attributes to the constant day in, day out posting. It's like, man, all you've got to do is one video every single day. I used to shear over 200 sheep a day. It was like one video, 200 sheep. You don't want to go back. And I think that's why perspective and hard work is so important. And I always say it. And I just shearing is the biggest thing that fucking helped me get to where I am. End of story.
Yeah.
And you can see it's like, it almost gets me emotional. It's just like, I'm so driven by it, what that was to me. Like, I shore from when I was 16 to 21. I traveled Australia. I started in Tasmania, went to Victoria, back around where I grew up, did runs in South Australia, and then I ended up in Wagga Wagga, and that's where I finished, in Wagga Wagga. and that's like the toughest shearing sheep around there. And obviously brutal heat in the summertime, like the sheds are over 50 degrees Celsius.
It's the definition of physical labor.
It's
manual
hard work,
labor.
man. It's like
You're wrestling animals.
people talk about hard
Shaving.
labor. Like this has to be one of the hardest laboring jobs. Like it's 8 hours of constant work, not to mention the hour trap. So you're at the shed for 10 hours a day. You're shearing sheep for 8 non-stop hours, in, out. As many as you shear, the more you get paid. So you get paid per head. So it's piecework. The more you shear, the more you get paid. The shed day, you have your breaks, and it works out to be 10 hours you're at the shed for, and then you have to commute to and from, which may be an hour. So that's a 12-hour round day. And then once you get home, you've got to sharpen all your tools. It's like a massive 14-hour plus days, you know?
Shit.
So that's the big item to start with. And then the next item is this little thing here. Now, it's got a little script on the back of it. This gentleman, Liam Anderson, he is my first mentor when I first started in Genesis in August 2014. This is the guy who set me up in the beginning, and he left the gym and went to work at Gold's Gym in Townsville. And when he left, I think it was in 2015, around May, so we'd been working together for almost 12 months, and he left me this as a joke. This was a joke that he left.
Oh, right.
Because he was very much a humorous person.
Okay.
So this wasn't,
like
this was not a serious thing, right? I'm going to read out what it said on the back of it.
I was going to say, I'm curious now.
The funniest, well, this is Curious Conversations, man. So I have had this in my wardrobe every single day I have looked at this. I don't read it every single day, but I've looked at it as a memento to go forward and achieve all I need to achieve. So it goes, "Dear Maddie, I know you aspire to be the best, that you're motivated by having a goal and a vision of what success looks like. Hopefully this profile serves as a guiding light for all that you can and could achieve. All the best, mate. Liam."
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
the fact that I thought it was a serious one too. But it's funny because it probably almost has become.
Little did he know that was my guiding light.
Yeah, that's the really serendipitous, ironic thing about that.
So there's blue tack that sits on it, and I sit it in my, like where my socks sit and my jocks. And I read it every single day, and I have done. And back then I had that vision, and I've still got that same vision now. And that was, how many years ago is that? 11, 12? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Fuck, 2014?
12 years. 12 years, yeah.
So 12 years ago, he tore that off, and he gave it to me as he was walking out. And I ended up going with him over to Gold's Gym, and he taught me much more for the year or two after that. But yeah, he did it as a complete joke. He just grabbed his PT profile off the wall, handed that to me, wrote a little, what was a bit of a joke but a meaningful thing on the back. And then boom, I just fucking took it and ran with it.
That's cool, man.
Actually, when I hit 1 million followers, he was the first person I reached out to, and I was like,
"Say you're still in touch with him, Liam, right?"
Yeah. He's not big on social media or anything. He's very much like just does his own thing now. He's not been in the fitness space, but I reached out to him and I thanked him when I hit 1 million, and I was like, "Man, this is like a massive amount to you." And of course, being the humble individual and the jokester he was like, "Man, you just did all the work. You're always driven from the beginning." So I think the shearing singlet was the thing that built the hard work, and then having some fortunate people to be around, helped me get to where I am. But yeah, it always comes down back to the work ethic. You can run into the best people, but if you're not driven yourself and you haven't got that relentless work ethic that it takes, then unfortunately, not many people make it that don't have that.
It's very true.
So yeah, I think that's a great segment to bring in, because I'll be interested to see what other sentimental items people have to bring in.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate you being the first one to bring it in. I'm a bit remiss that I didn't get it on the first new evolution.
What did you think What did you think I was going to bring in?
I was going to say, because I think so. I was not far off. I knew you were going to bring in something from sheep shearing, and do you know what I thought they were going to be? What? The shears.
Oh yeah,
because I thought I literally So how I had it was, I'm like, Matt, because I know how important that is, and I get it because I have similar things, and it's funny. I keep one of every uniform of every job I've ever worked, from the first one to remind me of where I came from my lifeguard outfit all the way to my PT tops, and I keep one shirt. I collect them. but they're a reminder, and they're sentimental to me. But I knew and I've listened to obviously other podcasts that you've been on, and I know how much, and especially when we first talked about that on the first episode, and I encourage people to go back and listen to that because it is great. And I know we've touched base on it here, but I wanted to talk about other things as well. And I thought he's got to bring something to do with sheep shearing, because I know it's his anchor. I know it's his constant reminder every day to stay humble, stay grounded, and keep working. And I just thought you might have had some sheep. I just envisioned you having some clippers at home somewhere, and you're just like, that's it. But it is. But fundamentally, it is. It's something. It's an insignia.
Yeah.
It was part of your uniform, or in my saying, I thought it was part of your tools. That is just shit, exactly. That's a reminder to you about where you've been and what you've done and what it takes. And and I love what you said about, I do want to underscore that, because I often will say this to Crystal and people who, may want advice about, getting somewhere, or even in the personal training game. I always remember the shittest jobs I've ever had, because I don't think people really know. People just assume, because me and you are not in our 60s or anything. All right, they probably think we're like 18 or something. I don't know, with the bald head, right? And I know I look a bit more refined with the bald head. Do you know what I mean? Jason Statham and all that. But ultimately, like, you can't judge someone's past. And I know me and you have had some shit jobs, and like you said, you worked at that, and it's not a shite job. It was just character building, and you do what you have to do. But those jobs remind us. Fuck me, you get a little bit ahead of yourself sometimes. You think, fuck, I've got to make a social media post, and then you go, hang on a minute, sit yourself down, son, and have a word to yourself. Because this is what I think. Think about where you live, think about the money, think about the people that you've got in your life, the clients you help, the opportunities you've got, the car you drove or used to drive, and all those things. People would fucking kill for that. And it's not to say that, you've got to look at the negative side of it, but it's sort of like a reminder to just check yourself before you wreck yourself, as Ali G says, which I love. And just remember that things were very different. And the thing that got you to where you are now is that work ethic. And you'll be very, very wise to never forget that. And I think it's something that, for me personally, just keeps me a little bit more humble and a little bit more grounded. And I actually have something in my wardrobe. It's eye level, because eye level is bi level.
Yeah.
And it's there every day. And it's always there. And it's been there as long as I can remember. And it's subconsciously ingrained. And I see it every single day because it's a reminder to me. And it's important. And I think that's why I'm intrigued to have this segment, because I am actually curious, like you said, about what people bring in and what it means to them.
100%.
So thank you for bringing that down, and thank you for sharing. It's very cool to hear about that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So look, we've talked a lot about where you've been, what you've done. Before we go, we've got some, I like to ask some more curious questions, if you will. But before we get into that, I want to know, where are you going? Like, when we sit down, which we will, in the next couple of years, and perhaps it won't be as long in between episodes, and we have a conversation, and I ask you that question again about, man, what's changed? Where do you see yourself? Because you're a man of vision, and you've got the confidence and the belief.
Yeah.
So what are you envisioning?
Oh, we're going to achieve big things, man. Big things. We're only just scratching the surface, and, this is all very much at the beginning for me. And we're going to have an impact on changing thousands and thousands of people's lives through health and fitness, building the confidence to be able to fuck with the lights on. There's some things that are in the works right now that I can't really speak about, because I don't want to be that person who gives away something and then it takes ages to come to fruition. I'd rather undersell and over-deliver. However, all I can say is, the following is only just, really, in the grand scheme of how long I've been going for, only just come up through the ranks. So right at this point in time, I don't try to think too much ahead. All I try to think about is nailing what I'm doing every single day. Start every day at zero and just make sure I'm nailing every single day. But I know the compounding effects of, how much things have changed in the last 6 months as to where they're going. I'll just say that there's big things coming. There's going to be, 10x times lives being changed through health and fitness, and the system that we've got in place now with how we coach our clients, and we allow them to be able to plug themselves into a program that they don't need forever, and they build the tools and resources to be able to learn themselves and change their lives, like genuinely change and not stay stuck. I'm very excited to scale that to the moon, but also bring some very fun things out along the way and capitalize on what I've worked so hard for. And you better believe I'm going to be doing that.
Mate, speaking of curiosity, you've piqued my curiosity. I'm excited to see it, and no doubt you will, mate. You know, it's just a matter of time. Like you said, I think you feel like you're just getting into your stride.
Just opening up, man. Just
the head's coming up, and the arms are pumping, and the legs are going. And
I think I'm probably, if let's say we're in a 6-speed, I'm probably in 3rd gear. Yeah.
So moving on to these questions before we wrap up then, because this is quite a little segue that would lean into this. Curiously, just whatever comes to mind, because you've got so much ahead of you, if you could choose to live forever, would you?
Yes.
Cool, that's it. Because we can't think about the specifics too much, because otherwise it becomes, there's lots of if, buts, and maybes. But there's a lot to do. There's a lot to be achieved.
I mean, obviously there's questions around that, but I would say yes. I do love my life, and I think like I would like to live forever. There's so much that you can experience. And yeah, I just think that life is fantastic, and why would you want to go?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. What's something that you're curious about that you've not yet leaned into? And it could be something from sport, a genre, anything that you want to invest a little bit more time in the next 12 months.
One of the big things that I've been working on is getting time back. Fun, freedom, fulfillment. They're my 3 cups that I need to fill outside of helping changing people's lives for myself. So I want to lean into other aspects of that. And one thing that I haven't been good at over the years is leaning into hobbies. Like I got into a little bit of surfing, but then I pulled back on it because I'm going all in with work. I want to really make sure that I'm living life to the fullest. There's plenty of traveling that I haven't done, so I need to lean into that more. I need to lean into hobbies like, you know, surfing, spending more time with the people that I love and care about, those types of things. So I can't give specifics on what they will be. I just know that there will be a lot of time being allocated to that. Once again, the systems that we are building will allow me to be able to do that, where I'm not caught in this loop of, you know, doing more equals more. I'll be able to step back from that, but then even have a bigger impact with what I'm doing. And I think that's a big secret. I think a lot of people get caught up in the more you work, the more, you know, you can get, which is true to a point, but there needs to be a point where you can have your vision being pushed out for you whilst you constantly are checking in with yourself and making sure that you're filling your own cup as well.
Which I think is almost the best answer to, at this point, what I can ascertain to the meaning of life, which is to enjoy it before the show's over.
100%, because we're all going to fucking die soon too. Like we're going to, like, life is quick. If anyone hasn't watched the documentary Dinosaurs on Netflix, I would highly recommend you go and watch that documentary. Have you seen it?
I've not yet.
It's like they explain the history of Earth. If you were to put it on a 24-hour clock, humans have been on the Earth for 2 minutes, so 11:58 to 12 p.m.
Fuck yeah.
So
Cool
you think about, like, the history of the Earth has been around for a long time. Humans have been on here for 2 minutes currently. We are not here for long. So do what you love, put everything into it, and just understand that in 100 years from now, nobody's going to know your name. And it's all going to be done. So you may as well go all in and just fucking chase your dreams.
Yeah, have a crack.
Have a solid crack.
And it's good. It's things like that, that put it into perspective, though. And I think we do need those sobering reminders. I think it's important. So the last question is, if you could have an Instagram post or a reel that everyone would see in this scenario, everyone's going to see it. It's inevitable. It's going to be in everyone's feed. And bang, it's there. What would be the message? And we'll say it's a post, not a reel, right? Or if it is a reel, it's the takeaway. What would you want everyone to receive from this message? What would be the takeaway?
Is it to do with health and fitness? Or
No, it could be anything you want it to be.
I think it's exactly what I just said, man. Go all in on your dreams. You haven't got long left. There is time, but understand that, you know, in 100 years' time, no one's going to remember your name. So go all in on your dreams and fuck what anyone else says. Just send it. And fucking
Send it. I love it. Send it.
do not look back, because it's going to be over before you know it.
It's great advice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great way to wrap up what's been another curious conversation, Matt. For people that want to, follow along if they're not already with the little golden nuggets you've dropped and they're not figured it out, where's the best place for people to follow along with the journey, or if they want to get involved, they want to fuck with the lights on, they want to have that confidence, where's the best place?
Yeah, Road to Aesthetics on TikTok, Instagram, which is my main platform, Matt West _ Road to Aesthetics, Road to Aesthetics on Facebook and YouTube. But if you're interested in the Fuck with the Lights On Challenge, just type in Fuck with the Lights On Challenge in Google, and there will be at the very top. That's pretty much it.
There we go. You heard it here first, folks. Mate, I appreciate coming down.
Mate, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Mate, it is. And we've got much more catch-ups after this, which is
Can't
good.
wait to see where we're at the next podcast, mate.
That's going to be fucking exciting. That's going to be very
For both
exciting.
of us. For both of us.
100%.
Let's get it, brother.
We're both making moves.
Fuck it.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.